Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to get started in a second. Just bear with me. Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power. Just bear with me a second. We're going to get started in 1 minute. I know it's kind of late, so it is what it is. People may not tune in at this time. Hopefully you'll catch it on the playback. But there's some things that I want to talk about this evening. Just give me a second. I see we have a few people tuning in. So I did a video about Donald Trump separating migrant children from their parents. And I received quite a few comments from these ultra pro-black militants, these people that have this black first mentality. And I don't have any problem with somebody having a black first mentality, but these people take it to far extremes. And I'm going to talk about some of the comments that they left, and I'm going to respond to some of the comments that they left. And I'm just going to talk about my problem with these fake ass pro-blacks. I don't have a problem with people being pro-black. Obviously, I consider myself to be pro-black. I support my people. I fight for my people every day, unlike these keyboard warriors who only type about their people, but aren't actually engaged in any kind of struggle at all for the people. You got these black power entertainers who aren't about empowering black people. They're about entertaining people for AdSense dollars. That's what they're about. So what I'm going to do is go through some of these comments that people left, respond to them briefly. This shouldn't be a long Google Hangout, and I welcome your feedback. I will check out your comments as you leave them. But I just had enough, man. I just had enough of these narrow-minded, bigoted, ignorant people leaving these ridiculous, retarded, unsophisticated comments to my videos. And it just tells me like how much these people are so miseducated. And it's just a reminder of how a lot of these so-called pro-blacks are nothing but the new coons. I did a video months ago about some of these pro-blacks, these hoteps, basically being the new coons. There was a report about these hoteps forming some kind of alliance with white supremacists. And for all intents and purposes, these people that had this anti-immigrant mentality, they are nothing but people who are serving the interests of white supremacy while they constantly talk about how they're fighting white supremacy. How are you fighting white supremacy when you are aligning yourself with white supremacy by supporting this anti-immigrant sentiment? That's what you're doing, aligning yourself with these white supremacists who complain about so-called white genocide. That's what you people are doing. A lot of these people are just as reactionary as the alt-right. And that's why it's no coincidence that you had these alt-right people aligning themselves with these hotep buffoons, because these hotep people, they don't pose any kind of threat to white supremacy. They don't pose any kind of threat to the power structure. They don't pose any kind of threat, because all they do is live on Fantasy Island. They peddle this lie. They peddle this mythology, this pipe dream of separating from America and creating some fantasy island. These people don't have any practical plans to improve the plight of black people. They don't have any plans at all. That's why these people have the luxury of condemning coalitions. But we'll get into that in a second. I'm going to go through the comments and just respond to them step by step. And I'm just going through some of these comments. For some reason, YouTube hides comments. So I'm going to show all the comments. And before I go further, I just want to shout out a couple of people who tuned in. Shout out to Motormouth Afro Kid. Shout out to Axel Foley. Shout out to Sean Rodriguez. Peace to you. Shout out to Def Rocker. Shout out to Charles M. Peace and blessings to everyone. And Axel Foley said, you can't take these online militant Negroes seriously. And that's a fact. That's actual facts, man. These people are entertainers. I mean, you got people on here using all this colorful language about the white man, talking about how much they hate the white man, hate the white woman, you know, talking about albinos, devils, and, you know, cocker devils this, and, you know, all these terms, these colorful terms that they use to condemn white people. But these same people, these very same people that have so much animosity towards white people are the same people you see all on the internet hugged up with these same white people that they refer to as devils. These people are nothing but entertainers. These people haven't done anything of substance besides fatten up their wallets with their hateful rhetoric. These people aren't organizing a damn thing. They're not building a damn thing. These people are nothing but entertainers. They are no different from the preachers that they like to condemn. Because these people, all they do is entertain people, gas people up, get people fired up emotionally, but they don't do anything of substance. They don't provide any kind of concrete solutions. They don't do anything. They don't organize anything. They don't organize a single protest against a single incident of police brutality. They're not doing anything to fight against discrimination. All they do is peddle this fake ass dream of going to some separate territory, and these people have no intention at all of ever leaving this country while they talk all this separatism nonsense. And I have videos about all this kind of stuff. I have, you know, my video about black separatism being a fantasy. You know, I had these videos about these hoteps being the new coons, you know, aligning themselves with white supremacists. Yeah, so you cannot take these people seriously, man. And I don't take any of these fools seriously in the comment section talking about, you know, I'm caping for immigrants. But I'm going to get to those comments in a second, man. I just can't wait to get into these comments. I can't wait to do it, man. There's so much that I got to say. Because I had enough, man. I'm just so tired of the ignorance this dominates this YouTube thing, man, because these people don't open books anymore. All they do is watch YouTube. They don't do any kind of research on their own. All they do is listen to their favorite black fake power advocate and run with whatever they're saying. So you got this fool, Tariq Nasheed, running around here talking about, you know, the immigrants and this and that. So you got all these puppets, these damn zombies, these parrots parroting what this man has said without using any kind of critical thinking skills at all. The same man that, you know, had all this stuff to say about how we shouldn't vote, you know, telling people that they should not vote for president or vote for federal positions and all that kind of stuff. This fool actually launched a Don't Vote campaign, and he got all these dummies following him. And now after this white supremacist Donald Trump has been elected, you got these same fools that told black people not to vote all of a sudden got something to say about Donald Trump when they in fact helped elect Donald Trump by suppressing their own black voters. People like that Boyce Watkins, you know, peddling you hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams, man, telling you that your vote doesn't matter and this and that. And you had all these people, gullible, ignorant people, follow these people, man. And what they're doing now with this anti-immigrant rhetoric is, you know, parroting the nonsense that's coming from these pseudo fake-ass pro-black people, man. It's not about the real work. You know, they haven't organized a damn thing. The only thing they're about organizing is their Patreon page so they can cash out on you. Y'all got me, they got me fired up, man. I can't wait to go to these comments. But I'm going to continue through these comments in the chat room before I go any further. Exactly. He said, Axel Foley said, them Negroes ain't going to bust a grape at a food stand. Exactly. All they're going to do is run off their mouth, man. These people don't participate in any demonstrations at all. They don't encourage people to participate in any demonstrations at all. They're not building a damn thing. They're not building any schools or businesses or any of that stuff. The only business that they're building is their own personal business here on YouTube, peddling lies and peddling emotionalism without peddling actual facts and actual knowledge that's going to be used to empower the community. These people are in love with white supremacy because it enriches their pockets to be able to complain about this and that and not do anything constructive to address these problems. See, it's the people that aren't about organizing. They want to discourage people from getting involved in coalitions, because these people don't understand the importance of coalitions. Anytime you're participating in organization, you're trying to change policy, you need coalitions to make that happen. Yeah, you got these kids separated from their family, and then you got these fake ass pro-blacks talking about they need to just hold their own nuts and deal with their own problems. But these are the same people that when black people are suffering at the hands of these stinking cops, they want everybody to be concerned about it. They want the courts to do something about it. They want justice when there's injustice in the world. But when other people demand justice, when other people demand that their suffering be acknowledged, these same fake ass pro-blacks want to negate all of that stuff. You can't demand that people identify with your struggle, or that people sympathize with your struggle, or that the courts have compassion for your struggle if you don't have compassion for anybody else. Again, this is another reminder of how these people are not about that work. They're not about trying to improve the plight of black people, because if they were, they would understand the importance of coalitions. All right, so let's go on to this, go on to these comments. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see these comments for yourself, and I'm going to respond to them step by step. Man, it's just a shame just how ignorant people are, man. In the name of being pro-black, these people are some of the most backwards and ignorant people that you will ever see. Some of the most uninformed people that don't have a clue about politics. All right, so this is the video that I did. It was earlier today. I did this video like this morning before I went to work. And, you know, there's a substantial amount of thumbs down on this video. And that's something that, you know, really, I don't care about the thumbs down and all that kind of stuff. You know, I just put out my opinions. You know, I'm not one of these hypersensitive people that take off their thumbs down. I mean, they're so sensitive about that they have their thumbs down and thumbs up off, so you can't even see how many people are admiring their video or hating on their video and stuff like that. To me, that's fag stuff. I mean, just to be blunt, man, to be overly sensitive about that. But this just gives you an idea of like how how many people you know, have opposition to the message in this video. For those people who haven't seen this video, you know, I'll post the link in the cards or in the description box. But I want to go through some of these comments step by step, and I'll get to your comments in a second in the chat room. So this person says that, you know, basically immigrants will not support black people, and we have to face the fact that we are all that we have. Now, without a doubt, there's some immigrants that do not support black people, you know, that don't support our causes, obviously. I'm not going to say that every single immigrant is down with black people or supportive of black people, because we know that there are many immigrants that don't care about our issues and aren't, you know, a part of our struggle. But there are people in immigrant communities, you know, Latinos and Asians that are involved in the struggle of our people. Without a doubt, anybody that knows anything about civil rights law or knows anything about prominent civil rights attorneys and civil rights organizations, you know for a fact that there are plenty of Latino attorneys that represent African Americans in race discrimination cases of all different stripes and kinds. You know that there are plenty of Asians that represent Black people in all kinds of civil rights matters. You know that there are activists that support groups like, just bear with me a second. I'm going to have to bear with me a second. I'm going to have to, I'm going to wrap this up real quick because I got an important matter. I got an important call that I have to get to. But I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to run through this real quick. Man, I really have to, yeah, I'm going to have to go in a second. But yeah, I just want to go through a couple of these comments real quick. But, you know, my last point was this, you know, there are plenty of people that come from immigrant backgrounds that support African Americans, you know, whether we're talking about supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, as indicated in this article right here about how Latinos are supporting Black Lives Matter. And, you know, so a couple of people mentioned that you have these Asian people support this cop that killed this African-American man. But here, this article points out how there were several, you know, Asian groups that supported the brother who was killed by the cop. You know, these Asian people were standing with the African-American community. And you can read this article for yourself. When I get a chance, I'll post a link in the description box so that you can read it. So yeah, you know, check this out. You know, it goes contrary to this whole narrative that you have no Asians or Latino people supporting Black causes. And then when you go to the 50s and 60s and the 70s, you will see that there were alliances between civil rights organizations, you know, Black and Latino civil rights organizations. You will see that there were coalitions between groups like the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords. The Young Lords was a Latino organization. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, so you'll see that Latinos, you know, worked with the Black Panther Party, the Young Lords and all that kind of stuff, worked with the Black Panther Party, had alliances with the Black Panther Party. You had Asians that were part of the civil rights movement, Asians that worked with Brother Malcolm X, for instance. Read up on that. Read up on the Asian woman that worked with Malcolm X before you talk about how no Asians or no Latinos support Black people. It's just absolutely asinine and ridiculous that people continue to think like this. You know, they don't do their own research. All they do is regurgitate these talking heads that you see on YouTube. And then you have this person right here who actually has the nerve to use these kinds of icons and images. You know, he has this blackface here and watermelon and this and that, suggesting that I'm a coon because I support humanity, because I don't support the idea of children being separated from their parents. That somehow that makes me a coon or something. I mean, do you understand how absolutely asinine and ridiculous that sounds? Here we are, people who were enslaved in this country for hundreds of years. Here we are, people who were separated from their parents, separated from their loved ones, separated from their husbands and wives, families ripped apart. And here we are, not realizing the significance of what this stinking President Donald Trump has done, not realizing the significance of it, not identifying with those human beings that have their families ripped apart. Again, these people in their fake definition of pro-blackness have lost their sense of decency, have lost their sense of compassion, have lost their very humanity. They are consumed with hatred. That's what they are consumed with. They are consumed with bigotry and prejudice. You can't fight bigotry with bigotry. You can't fight prejudice with prejudice. You can't fight fire with fire. And that's the mentality that these ignorant people have that profess to be so pro-Black. These people are not pro-black, they are pro-stupid. That's what they are. They are pro-inhumane. That's what they are. That's what they are. So let me just continue on through these comments. I don't have much time because I got an important call that that I really want to get to. Just bear with me a second. And the thing is, like, why these people call me, like, you got this idiot suggesting that I'm a coon or something like that for doing this video. I mean, well, who's a bigger coon than somebody that aligns themselves with damn white supremacists? Because that's who's behind this whole anti-immigrant sentiment. It's those white supremacists that are talking about fearing a browning of America. It's the white supremacists that are talking about white genocide. It's the white supremacists that support this anti-immigrant sentiment, this xenophobia. These same people that hate the immigrants hate black people. These same people that hate the Mexicans hate black people. These same people that hate the Muslims hate black people. These same people that hate the Jews hate black people. But our people are clueless. And they are actually aligning themselves with these white supremacists while they profess to be fighting against white supremacy. What's a bigger coon than that? Who's a bigger coon than that, man? Using the same talking points as these damn white supremacists. And you got the audacity to suggest that I'm a coon? Got the audacity to suggest that I'm caping? When you're the one caping for a Donald Trump administration, an administration that has proven that it doesn't give a damn about black people, that has joked about police brutality, that has downplayed police brutality, that's trying to dismantle affirmative action, that's trying to undermine voting rights. An administration that encouraged protesters to attack black people. A damn man, a damn charlatan that was charged for discriminating against African Americans who were trying to rent his property. That's who you're defending, and you have the nerve to suggest that somehow I'm a coon? You've lost your damn mind. You got me all the way messed up. So let's continue on through this nonsense. Again, you know, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I got some important matters to talk to, you know, someone about. I'd much rather be talking to them than talking to these trolls right now here on YouTube. All right, so this person said you can change a channel from being pro-black and change it to a regular channel because all you talk about here is other races of people. I mean, I talk about a wide range of things. I talk about black issues, you know, obviously. Anybody that's looked over my content, I got over 1,000 videos on here. My videos go back years. Early on, I didn't post that many videos, but also, in addition to these videos, I have my written blog that I haven't written on it in a while, but I am immersed in the issue of black people. When these people on here were in diapers, man, or weren't even born, I was in these streets putting in that work for people, for black people. I was on the front lines demonstrating, you know, risking arrest when I was a student, risking arrest when I was a law student, protesting against a president that made derogatory statements about African Americans. Unlike a lot of attorneys, I didn't go work for some fancy law firm or anything like that. I worked for the people, fighting for civil rights for black people. So don't lecture me about not being pro-black. You're out of your damn mind to suggest that I'm not pro-black when 90% of this content is about black people. Who the hell are you? These people that want to criticize me, they don't even post a single video. Or if they have videos, they don't post them publicly because they don't have the heart to stand behind their positions. These cowards don't even show their face on here, and they want to be taken seriously. These people are a joke, man. So this person goes on to say, hold on. And then, I mean, I'm not going to even bother to read through this any further. I mean, I don't understand why people don't use periods when they put these comments up here, why people don't use proper sentence structure. Nobody has time to like go through your comment and imagine where periods are supposed to be and where capitalization is supposed to be. I mean, it's like you would think that these people don't have any kind of education at all, leaving some comment like this where it's all runs together and there are no periods, no capitalization. I mean, where do people come off writing like this? Where did these people go to school? And then you had this person right here, this Mike Johnson guy, who basically says, F these immigrants because Black children are being separated from their families every day and nobody gives a F. I mean, this is like what's wrong with a lot of these people on here, man. I mean, they expect, because Black, this person saying Black people are being separated from their family. First of all, this person not even elaborating on what he's talking about when he's saying Black people are being separated from their families every day. How are they being separated from their families every day? And the fact that Black people are being separated from their families, that doesn't mean that we can't have compassion for others who are being separated from their families as well. It seems like if we are going through a situation where we're being separated from our families, we would be able to identify those who suffer from similar conditions. But yet you had this insensitive person leaving this asinine comment. This is what passes for pro-Black nowadays, man. And then you got this person here leaving this asinine comment, this minor person here, talking about how she gets tired of me talking about these immigrants. And I'm trying to see if he'll go with a Latino woman since he's so worried about these Latinos and this and that. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous that somebody would leave a comment like this, knowing my track record, knowing about what I talk about here on my channel, always talking about uplifting the sisters, celebrating the sisters, talking about how much I honor Black women. But here you have a Black woman suggesting that somehow I'm going to be with some Latino woman because I'm talking about immigrant issues. This is about human rights. This is what this is about. And people that are involved in the struggle for Black empowerment, Black liberation, they understood that that struggle for Black liberation was a part of the overall struggle for human rights. That's why Brother Malcolm X talked about bringing the plight of Black people to the UN, because he knew that it was bigger than civil rights. He knew that it was about human rights. And these activists that have pushed for Black liberation, they've recognized the struggles of other groups of people. Research the Black Panther Party. Research how they identify with struggles of working and poor people around the planet Earth and how they were inspired by those examples. Study the Panthers before you try to lecture somebody about being concerned about immigrants. And nobody will ever say that the Black Panthers were not a pro-Black organization. Only a fool would advance that position. And I wouldn't be surprised if this woman is leaving this comment isn't one of these swirlers, one of these. And I don't even know much about this particular person, but it's just like the insanity of some of our, it's like the simple-mindedness of some of our people, the unsophisticated nature of some of our people. And you got this person right here, Blacks for Trump, 2020. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a white person. I don't know. I'm not going to waste time, shifting from screen to screen to look at this person's page or anything like that. But any Black person talking about Trump for 2020 is a damn fool. What more can this man do to make it clear that he doesn't give a damn about Black people? He said that African people come from shithole countries. He talked about Haiti being a shithole country. It's like, have these Black people forgotten that they come from Africa And that brings me back to a point that I brought up before in my video. This immigrant issue is not just about Latinos. There are immigrants from Black countries, immigrants from Haiti, immigrants from Jamaica, immigrants from Trinidad, immigrants from all over the continent of Africa and other places in the diaspora. This is not just some Latino issue. Trump made that clear when he referred to Africa as a shithole. Trump made that clear when he talked about Africans and AIDS and cuts and all that kind of stuff. He made it clear that he doesn't give a damn about Black people, but yet you have ignorant ass Black people talking about Trump 2020. These people look like those buffoons, Diamond and Silk, talking this nonsense. And you got you so-called Black separatists, like your man Afro Synergy, man, a fool on here supporting Donald Trump. A man that's made it abundantly clear he doesn't give a damn about Black people. What more do you people need to wake up? And then this person said caping for people that are here to replace you is just shameful. I mean, and this person has a typo here, but nobody's caping for these people, and they're not replacing Black people. A lot of these immigrants that you're complaining about, they come here with low skills, and a lot of times they are performing jobs that Black people don't want to perform. They're janitors and, you know, day laborers and stuff like that. Jobs that there's not a high demand, you know, in the Black community for. Black community members are not clamoring for these jobs that these immigrants are filling. So stop peddling these lies and these false ideas. We're not being replaced by these immigrants, you know, these low-skilled immigrants that Trump is fixated on. There's nothing wrong with putting the interests of Black people first. That's not what I have a problem with. I have a problem with people not recognizing commonality, people not trying to build coalitions. You can't be about Black people first if you don't understand the importance of working with others in order to empower Black people. Our enemy understands the importance of coalitions when they form these groups, when they form a NATO, or they sit down at the Berlin conference and decide how they're going to cut up Africa. They understand the importance of coalition. And oppressed people worldwide need to unite against their common oppressor. And until that happens, oppressed people will continue to be oppressed. They divide oppressed people along all kinds of lines, thereby weakening the oppressed and keeping the system of oppression in place. But if some of these people are just so ignorant, they don't get it. They don't understand it. And I'm not saying that all of these immigrants are, you know, are down with Black people. I mean, certainly not. There's some that don't support our causes and stuff. And then you have this person right here saying there's never been a Black and brown coalition. That's nonsense, pure nonsense. All you have to do is look at the coalitions between civil rights organizations, predominantly Black civil rights organizations and Latino organizations. All you have to do is look at the civil rights docket in any federal court, and you'll see plenty of examples of Black and brown coalitions. All you have to do is look at these demonstrations against police brutality, and you will see plenty of Black, brown coalitions. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. I told you about the example of the Black Panther Party and the Young Lords, but yet these people want to ignore all of that. Ignore all of it. And these same people that want to complain about this police brutality, and, you know, and that's a righteous cause. I've done plenty of videos on police brutality. They want people to sympathize when Black people are gunned down, when Black people are dealt with unjustly. But these same people don't want to recognize when other people are oppressed. You know, this person talked about how, you know, this person brought up this comment. They said, ask Jordan Davis, Tamir Rice, Jonathan Farrell, and all these other people what it's like to be separated from their families. Oops, you can't. I mean, I understand the significance of police brutality. Obviously, I talk about that all the time, but that has absolutely nothing to do with the subject matter. It's like some of these people had this desire to participate in the oppression Olympics. Let's see who suffered the most. And let's ignore somebody else's suffering. Let's not identify with the struggle of others. Not realizing that by linking up with these people, we can help empower ourselves. Read the book Black Power by Stokely Carmichael, where they talk about the importance of coalitions. Now, there are certain pitfalls that we need to avoid when dealing with coalitions, but coalitions are vital for our advancement as a people and our empowerment as a people. We are 13% of the US population. If we are to get laws passed that benefit us, if we are to bring about reforms that are beneficial to us, obviously we need to work with others, because you are not separating from America anytime soon. Anytime soon, despite all this rhetoric. You got all these Black Power advocates. You got the Nation of Islam, an organization that's been around over 80-something years. They're still in America. They haven't gone to Africa or created some separate territory, and they don't plan to ever do so. I'm just going to declare it right now. At the height of Jim Crow, they had every opportunity to separate, but here they are right in America, just like the rest of the Negroes. Separation, while I understand the importance of nationalism, and you have to see my video on this, man. That separation talk is not a solution to Black people's real life problems, because there is no practical plan to separate from America. So as long as you are in this country, you need to work with others to bring about change in this society. The lawyers that fought these civil rights cases understood that. They worked with white attorneys that were progressive to bring about change in the laws and change in the legal precedents in this country. But these go it alone people, these people that talk about, have this extreme sense of Black first, they sound just like Donald Trump when he talks about America first. They are the flip coin of the alt-right. They don't challenge the alt-right. These same people, they're not on the front lines fighting against these alt-right people. They're comfortably at home sitting behind a computer doing some YouTube videos. I don't have respect for that, man. I have zero respect for that, or zero tolerance for it. So let me just go through some more of these comments. I think I made my point. I think a lot of these comments are repetitive. And then you have people speaking in absolutes, talking about Mexicans are always against Black people, very sneaky and disgusting liars. That's called prejudice. That's called bigotry. That's called generalizations. That's no different from people stereotyping Black people as criminals, stereotyping Black people as drug dealers, stereotyping Black people as violent. How is that any different from Fox News characterizing Black people as animals? How is it any different? But some of our people are so stooped in ignorance that they don't realize that while they're talking about somebody caping, these people are in fact caping for white supremacists by running with their talking points. This doesn't sound any different from something Donald Trump would say. This doesn't sound any different from something that Richard Spencer would say. But this is what passes for being pro-Black on YouTube. This is what passes for being pro-Black, man. And that's why I had to do this video about my problems with these fake-ass pro-Black people, man. These people are an embarrassment to the cause, man. It's not about hating somebody because of the color of their skin. Like Brother Bobby Seale pointed out, it's about hating oppression. It's about hating the system that continues this oppression. The system that divides the people and oppresses the people. That's what it's about. But these people just can't see it, man. They just don't have a clue. And I want to thank all those people that comment here. I appreciate y'all. And I'm about to get to your comments in the chat room real quick before I close out, because I do have an important call that I have to get to. It's more important than addressing these punk ass trolls. Because these trolls are going to do what trolls do. Yeah, I'm not going to have time to get to these comments. I'm going to have to watch them on the playback. I'm just going to shout some people out real quick. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I see Psycho in there. Yeah, I'm not going to have time to read y'all comments. I'm going to have to watch it on the playback. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Shout out to, shout out, I mean, some of the people I'm shouting out may be going in on me. But I just don't have time to read your comments right now, man. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in, for supporting your man, New Possibilities. Even the haters, man, y'all supporting me by watching me, man. Oh, man. And I see Nelly B 3000 has some fruit in here. I don't know what's that about. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Y'all hit me to what that's supposed to mean. I don't know. But anyway, man, shout out to all of y'all, man. Shout out to, let me just do these quick shout outs. I'm not going to be able to read your comments, but I'm going to at least shout you out. Again, shout out to, you know, the people I already mentioned, Def Rocker, Alex Foley. Shout out to Lafayette the Great. Shout out to Sean Rodriguez. Shout out to the other Sean. Shout out to Miss Red. Shout out to Ariana. Hey, shout out to even Nelly B. Shout out to Bullet Cubs Biggs. Shout out to Prolific Buyers. Shout out to Psycho. Yeah, so Psycho, you asked the question. You know, earlier I showed an article about Latinos working with Black Lives Matter. So I think that addresses your question about you know, Mexicans or, you know, working with Black organizations. And, you know, as a civil rights attorney, I work with Latinos all the time that represent Black people in these civil rights cases. I work with Asians all the time that are representing Black people in these race discrimination cases. So, I mean, I just think that there are these false narratives that are constantly put out here. And it just sickens me, man. It sickens me that people don't do their homework. They don't do their research. All they do is run with these stinking talking points by these Black power entertainers like your man Boyce Watkins or your Tariq Nasheeds or your Cynthia G's and all these other imposters, these damn charlatans and fakers and stuff like that, man. And I have to call them just that, man, because these people aren't doing anything constructive, man, besides running their mouths. You know, the thing that separates me from these people is that my life has been about that work. Every day that I go to work, I'm working for the people. I'm working to fight discrimination. You know, obviously there's more that all of us can do, but at least I'm doing something. I'm not just talking here on YouTube. The past 14 years have been dedicated to fighting discriminations through the legal process. You know, when these people in college were just getting wasted, you know, getting smoked out and all that kind of stuff and drunk, I was in the streets putting in that work for our people. So that's the difference between me and these fakers, man. But let me finish shouting out people. Shout out to Dante. And again, I don't know if these people I'm shouting out are going in or not. I just don't have the time to read your comments right now. But yeah, so with that, I'm going to sign off. You know, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I'm probably going to end up doing a follow-up to this video once I get a chance to see these comments in the chat room. So with that, I'll say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Peace to my supporters and and I'll even say peace to my detractors and haters, man.